Seasons! Greetings, everybody! I'm still reviewing all three of the Santa Claus movies starring Tim Allen. And since I reviewed the first film yesterday, I guess it doesn't hurt to check out its sequel, Santa Claus 2. Now, you're probably wondering what this movie is about. Walt Disney Pictures presents an all-new comedy adventure overflowing with holiday cheer. Tim Allen reappears in Santa Claus 2 with the hilarious sequel to everyone's favorite holiday. Scott Calvin has been Santa Claus for the past 8 years, and his loyal elves consider him the best one ever. But Scott's got problems. His son Charlie has landed on this year's naughty list, and if Santa doesn't marry by Christmas Eve, one very, very short month away, he'll stop being Santa forever. Uh-oh! I smell trouble. Embracing Christmas and the magic of family with heart, warmth, and fun charm, Santa Claus 2 is a classic holiday entertainment everybody will enjoy again and again. So basically, in a nutshell, Scott somehow found out that his time as being Santa might not last forever. And I guess he's just finding out about it now. And it looks like his son Charlie's going through some rough times, and he ends up being on the naughty list. That's basically what's going on in a nutshell. I honestly think this movie is way funnier and wackier than the previous film. I mean, Tim Allen still does a good job playing Scott Calvin, aka Santa Claus. Because to be fair, I can't imagine anyone but Tim Allen in the role. The plot does seem pretty interesting with a beginning, middle, and end. The jokes are probably funnier than the first movie. And not gonna lie, it's quite wild that Scott's time as Santa Claus for the past 8 years it probably won't last very long. Oh boy. I mean, I guess it came with a price. And honestly, I don't blame Scott for being completely shocked that his time as Santa these past 8 years won't last very long. And I guess in this sequel, he also has to be concerned about what his son Charlie is going through. So I guess one of the new elves, who I swear looks like the kid from the live-action Cat in the Hat movie, whose name somehow escapes me, actually built a machine to duplicate Scott Calvin. So that way he'll be in two places at the same time. Scott will have to try to set things straight with his son Charlie, while his toy counterpart starts to take charge of what's going on at the workshop. But let's just say that Scott Calvin, aka Santa Claus's toy counterpart, starts to get a little bit well, let's just say he's going a little bit overboard this year. Because he thinks every single child in the world is on the naughty list. Even though there's like, I don't know, even though there's like 14% of the kids who are on the naughty list compared to the 86%. Oh boy. So I guess somehow the kid who looks just like the actor from the live action Cat in the Hat film somehow accidentally created a monster without even trying to. I guess all that was going on while Scott was trying to set things straight with his son Charlie, who somehow thinks keeping the secret qualifies as betraying him. And I get it. Scott has been Santa Claus for a few years and didn't spend much time with Charlie. I mean, I can understand Charlie being a little bit of a Scrooge, but I mean, to be fair, the fact that Scott became Santa in the first film was kind of a bit of a surprise, since, well, Scott didn't see it coming anyway. But that's besides the point. It is interesting to see Scott fall in love with somebody new, mainly the principal of Charlie's school. She's a girl lady, by the way. I do like how when Scott and the lady principal are at the Christmas party at the school, Scott thought it would be a good idea to liven things up a bit with a Secret Santa party. Because I guess when they first enter the party, everyone seems to be in a bit of a dreary mood. None of them don't feel like partying. I guess even during a Christmas party, most people can be a bit of a Scrooge. Good thing Scott came up with the idea of doing a little Secret Santa thing. In fact, after the party, Scott had to explain to her that he is actually Santa Claus, but she somehow thought that he's trying to break up with her. Boy, talk about a big misunderstanding. I kind of hate that type of cliche, you know. Oh yeah, we even got an appearance by some holiday figures like Father Time, the Sandman, Easter Bunny, Mother Nature, and the Tooth Fairy. This is something you don't see every day. Seeing other holiday / weathery figures make an appearance. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about Cupid, who appeared in the movie. Feels like an all-star cast of various fairy tale characters or something. And I gotta admit, at times I kind of feel bad for poor Charlie. You know, seeing him struggle a little bit in school, getting into all sorts of trouble. Oh boy. I mean, I can sort of understand why he's taking his anger out by doing some graffiti on school property, because I guess Scott hasn't been around that much. Although, to be fair, I can't blame him for being the new Santa Claus since the first movie. But hey, sometimes desperate times calls for desperate measures, if you know what I mean. I can obviously tell that all the actors are doing their best with what they were giving. Not just with some of the original cast, like Tim Allen, for example, but especially some of the new cast members. And sure, maybe their acting can be improved a little bit, but you can't blame some of the cast members, because it's like I said a second ago. All of them are trying their best with what they're giving, no matter what. And that's pretty understandable. I mean, a lot of people had to try their best with what they were giving, you know? But aside from that, I honestly think this movie is a lot funnier than the first movie. Now, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against the first movie, since it is still a great idea of what would happen if somebody accidentally knocked Santa Claus off the roof and tried to take his place. But this one takes a more romantic approach, as well as what would happen if someone was in two places at the same time. Now, I gotta admit, it is cool seeing Tim Allen play Scott Calvin, aka Santa Claus, and his toy counterpart. I mean, you can obviously tell that it's the same actor. I'm guessing for like widescreen shots, they use they use green screen effects for it, and for the close-up shots, they probably had one actor trying to play Scott Calvin, while Tim Allen plays the toy counterpart, or vice versa. Which I will admit, that is pretty clever. That is a bit of a cool technique to try, you know? Now, I don't know what just like with the first movie, I'm not sure if the cast and crew are still in the acting business or they retired at some point. I mean, I already know that Tim Allen is still in the acting business. Heck, he's still got to voice Buzz Lightyear in the fifth Toy Story movie. Or speaking of which, there is a cute little reference that I really like. Is when both Santas are fighting in the sleigh, and the toy Santa said, "You're a strange and what was it? You are a sad and lonely man." Now, I don't know if that's meant to be like a reference to the first Toy Story movie, because, well, that's probably the same line Buzz Lightyear said to Woody. So I guess that reference isn't too far-fetched, considering how Tim Allen not only worked on all 3 Santa Claus movies, but worked on the entire Toy Story franchise in general. And again, not sure if that's like a cute little reference to the first Toy Story movie, but you know what? I'm just gonna call it a Toy Story reference, no matter what everyone thinks. And if you guys have seen this movie yourselves, you pretty much know what I mean, because I swear it has to be like a reference to Toy Story at some point. And it really got me laughing. Now, I'm not sure if the third film will have any Toy Story references. Probably not, but you know what? It probably doesn't matter anyway. So anyways, I honestly think Santa Claus 2 is funnier and more exciting than the first movie. And again, I have nothing against the first movie, but this one is still a lot of fun to watch over and over and over again. So I'll give this movie 5 toy Santa Clauses out of 5. So thank you guys so much for checking out this review of Santa Claus 2. And excuse me, I burped a little bit. Sorry about that. So what I was gonna say is, stay tuned for my review of the third Santa Claus movie tomorrow. Because it's gonna be quite interesting, if you know what I mean.